A very good evening to ladies and gentlemen here in Harare, Zimbabwe, and those who are watching us from all over the world. I go by the name George Billionaire Monengwa, and I'm here to talk to you about the art of selling. And you'll find that a lot of people in this day and age have to sell a product to convince. We know what selling is. We understand the definition of selling. But one of my personal inspirations in regards to selling is a man who lived on this planet many years ago, who is one of the most popular figures known all around the world. And I know when I do mention his name, you will know him. And he was able to sell a product and make people believe in a concept better than anybody else has ever done in this world. This specific individual, ladies and gentlemen, will not only be known even when I'm gone, but long after I'm gone. And that specific individual, ladies and gentlemen, goes none other than Jesus Christ. Let's give him a big round of applause. Now, Jesus Christ is an amazing seller of a product and a brand because he made people believe long before social media was in existence about a brand and a product. And a lot of people know Jesus Christ as somebody who was born in a manger, but this specific individual was a very well-off individual. He always used to dress the way he wants to be addressed, and he spoke in such a way that anybody who saw him was so convinced of the product and service he offered. Now, in this generation, ladies and gentlemen, we take for granted the power, which is what I'm mainly going to speak of, the power of social media in regards to selling. The power of social media in regards to selling. Now, I've been an entrepreneur in business for the past 9 years. I run a successful air conditioning company. Not only that, I'm also a business growth consultant. I do electronics. I do a lot of things. And why I've been excelling in this specific field is because I've mastered something which I learned from the gentleman I spoke about before. He was able to do something which is totally unique and make people do 3 things. Now, one thing I've learned, if ever you want to be dominant in your field or industry, you have to master these 3 things. Now, today, I understand that all of us have handheld devices, which most of us who are watching us from all around the world are using to actually see this presentation, or are using to communicate, to actually advertise, or to market products. Now, one thing that has a huge impact is marketing in this day and age. Now, the most important things when you're selling a product, there are 3 things. You need to be seen. Tell your neighbor, be seen, be heard. If you don't have a neighbor, just repeat it by yourself. Be seen, number 1, be heard, and be remembered. Those are the most important 3 elements if ever you are going to be a successful seller in anything. And if I were to ask you today, if you're watching TV, if you're watching football, if you're watching movies, there are so many products and brands you see put into certain things that go into your subconscious, which whether it's a brand, it's fashion, it's clothing, it's shoes, it's electronic devices, that will just trigger you to gain confidence in a specific product, service, or whatever it is. Now, one thing that I've mastered over the 9 years, which has made us be relevant as ProAir, as so many things that I do, is I've mastered the art of using social media to sell. Now, if you were to ask me the very last time I went to an organization to sell my products, I will tell you it's been a while because we've managed to be able to make sure that our brand is seen on social media, is heard. We've made sure that we speak about our brand and we make other people. The best form of advertising or selling, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't come from me telling you that ProAir offers the best air conditioning units. It comes from other people endorsing us. And when that happens, people gain confidence in a product which is not self-endorsed. So if you're out there and you're wanting to sell a product, get away from wanting to keep saying we are the best and we do this, but use a different strategy where you get your people who you've served to endorse you. Because when you do that, that gives confidence in somebody else saying, wow, if she's saying she's happy about this, and it's not George who is keeping on saying, listen, use my products because it's the best. there's a form of reality which people relate with. That way you'll be remembered, you'll be seen, and you'll be heard. Now, I'm one person who, if you know me a lot, I go by the name George Billionaire on all social media platforms. And I am one person who spends an hour or two at most providing content on social media platforms, selling a product. Now, some of you may think, George, don't you think you post a lot? And I remember getting these sentiments from very close family members when I began. And I remember when I started off, a lot of people used to say, George, I think you're trying too hard. But I think after the COVID experience, some of us had to spend a lot of time with our handheld devices, which is what most of the first world countries do, because you'll find that convenience is the key thing in this modern day and age. Gone are the days of billboards in regards to selling. Gone are the days of using televisions to communicate, because a lot more people spend time on their handheld devices. A lot of people, I do business growth consulting for a lot of organizations, and I tell them that pictures are actually going out of date now. And as you can see, that videos are the new form of advertising. Now, for some of you on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you'll find that small reel videos are actually an amazing way to sell a product or a service using amazing brand influencers. Tell your neighbor, brand influencers. Remember, I said the best way to market is not me speaking. Now, one of the strategies we've used at ProAir is we've engaged a lot of people who do a lot of videos to provide hilarious ways of selling a product rather than saying we are the best air conditioning company in Zimbabwe. I've got so many guests in here who are going to be fellow speakers, who are into security, who are into money lending, who are into advertising, who do borehole drilling. And one thing that's so important in nowadays terms is to think of what is it that can emotionally make somebody relate with our business other than just doing what everybody else is doing. And I tell you, using creative ways to emotionally get people attached and feel related to your business is the modern day of marketing today. Now, recently, I'm somebody who loves music a lot, and there's a man called DJ Khaled. I don't know if any of you know him. Another one, right? And he's a man who has so many followers. I follow DJ Khaled, I follow Sean Diddy Combs, I follow a whole lot of people, and they have a unique way of making sure when they post something, within 10 minutes, it's got more than 1 million views on whatever they sell. Now imagine your product. Some of you are still closed-minded in thinking that you're only focusing on a product and brand in your specific country. With me, we do business, yes, in Zimbabwe and Zambia, but most of our clients are also abroad. So we need to also conscientize the international community what we're doing. Because remember, you also have clients which are abroad, which also need to know your product and service. And the moment you begin to make and tailor make your adverts, not only for your country, but also internationally, that will aid you in selling. Now, one of the greatest things, ladies and gentlemen, that has led me to being where I am today, I'm one person, and I want you to write these platforms down, because if you're going to be a successful salesperson, I need you to become an aggressive seller of, number one, yourself as a brand. I know there's so many people who say, George, I'm too old to be on social media. George, I don't think I can post as much as you. George, I don't know what content to put. George, I don't know what video to put. But the best thing you can do on social media, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to selling, remember we're talking about the art of selling. Now, when I walked up on the stage today, can you see the way I'm dressed? I'm selling to you a specific image, and you're seeing me because of the way I'm dressed. And it's so important when you're selling, you need to dress the way you want to be addressed, correct? Tell your neighbor, dress the way you want to be addressed. Now, if I was to sell you a concept today, would you believe me just before I speak any word, just by my appearance? I think 90% of you would, because of the way I'm dressed. So it's so important when you are wanting to sell to make sure that you're looking sharp and make sure that people will believe what you say by your appearance alone. Number two, a lot of people, especially in this day and age, believe it or not, once you say Divine Kukula or Pedzisai or Tatenda Samkake, they're going to actually go and Google it and look for your profile and see who you are. And believe it or not, They are going to judge you before they even meet you or speak to you by what they see on social media. What does he talk about? What is he about? They'll go on your Instagram and LinkedIn. Ladies and gentlemen, please write LinkedIn on your piece of paper in front of you, LinkedIn. A lot of people, I've been on various platforms, but the greatest way of getting your story, your video, your picture, your image, your story, having the most amount of views, bigger than any other platform on this planet today, is LinkedIn. Tell your neighbor consistency. If you want to be, remember the three things. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be remembered, you have to be consistent in whatever you do. Now on social media, ladies and gentlemen, if you post once a year, twice a year, 3 times a year, you're not really communicating an important message. Now, one thing I do, especially now it's winter, I give people the benefits of air conditioning in winter. I make sure I inform people on giving them a little 30-second video, not too long, but to inform people the benefits, why should they choose this, not directly selling my product, but informing them on the benefits of a specific field or industry that we're in. And if you do this consistently, ladies and gentlemen, you might not see results in the first year. ProAir has been in business for the past 9 years now. But because of our consistency, you may say, George, we can't keep up with you because you've got 10,400 posts on Instagram. You post every day on LinkedIn. I wish you saw my inbox and the return in terms of sales and how good we are doing because we're putting so much content out there. I don't need to convince you, but I promise you, once you do it more and more, wherever you are in the world, this is a concept that will sell. The more content you let out there, the more you sell yourself, the more you talk about what you are doing. It doesn't matter how big a CEO, you're the marketing rep, the more you talk about what you do as a brand, a person or an individual, it links you up with so many people. Now, one thing why I like LinkedIn, I spoke about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a platform which helps you sell your product, your service, and helps you interact with similar minded people because it's a professional platform. It's unlike Instagram and Facebook where you're just posting content. You've got serious business executives in there. And for me, especially in my industry and sector, we work with corporates, NGOs, banks, hospitals, and I make sure that whatever content I am putting out there has specific individuals and different organizations to be able to see what we're talking about. The reason why I walk into many offices and doors is because they've seen me on LinkedIn and they remember me because I'm consistently posting every other day. So for me then to introduce my business and sell, it's a whole lot more easier because guess what? They've seen that we've done for this bank. They've seen that we've done for this hospital. They've seen that we've worked with so-and-so, and that gives them confidence. So social media, a lot of people may think it's just fun, but trust you me, in the next 4 to 5 years, currently we are seeing now, most of us really need to go to the bank because we can do it on our phones. We can order food. COVID has enlightened us and helped us become a first world country in terms of our thinking, because now we use our phones not only for WhatsApping or calling, but it's actually a means to actually put your product out there. And one thing that I specifically came to speak to you today, those who are filled in this room in Harare, Zimbabwe, and those who are watching us all over the world, is that let's make use of the art of selling, especially using our handheld devices. You don't have to have a professional cameraman like the ones that are in front of me today to be able to sell your product or service. You don't have to be concerned, what will people think about me? Be originally, uniquely yourself, because people love to see the real, genuine you, being who you are on social media and selling your product. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, the man who inspires me the most was very real. He was able to sell a story. And this is why up until today, there are many books written about him. Everybody on this planet knows him. And there's no help of social media to get that story about him out there. But he did such a great job in selling not only himself, but what he believed in, which was the doctrine, which is now Christianity, which everybody on this planet, no matter what religion you're on about, you know about this specific person because he knew how to sell. He knew how to present himself. He knew exactly what to do to make people talk about him, even if he wasn't there. I love the strategy where, there was a blind man and he said, do not go and tell people about the good thing that I have done for you. But you know what happens when you deal with a client so well? They definitely are going to sneeze on your behalf and testify the goodness that your brand, product, or service has done, which is the best form of marketing, ladies and gentlemen. And because of that, remember, it's not what you tell people, it's what your happy customers then sneeze onto other people, which then results in greater sales. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank this institution for having me come forth and speak. I hope you have learned one or two things. I hope 3 or 4, 5 or 6, and I hope you will implement. Now, the greatest thing about people in this day and age, they like to hear a lot, they like to write notes, and they're going to be like, George, we cannot post like you because, I think you have a lot of time on your hands. But the time on my hands, which I use to post and communicate what I want the world to see, ladies and gentlemen, has helped me run Pro Air Conditioning, which is a successful air conditioning company for the past 9 years. We do have different marketing strategies, but it's amazing what the content we've used, how we've used videos, not just pictures, ladies and gentlemen, videos to make people feel exactly what we're trying to express to people to help us increase our sales. And it has worked very well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, George. And we're just gonna give about 3 minutes for any questions that are in the building. If anyone has a question, kindly just raise your hand and we'll have a microphone come to you. Oh, there's a question this side. So whilst the microphone is going there, George, my question, the first one is, where do we find you? I know you're on social media, but what are your handles for those that are interested, to get your product and to see you? Where can we find you?
Okay. So on all social media platforms, on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, I go by the name George Billionaire. On YouTube as well. There's a lot of video content there, which a lot of people can digest and get a lot of insight on.
Great, great. And our second question, sir?
All right. I've actually been seeing a lot of the video content that you generate. And I want to ask, what is your process when creating topics of this 4 points of discussion for video?
Now, it depends what product or service I'm selling. But regarding air conditioning, I think what we've done with Pro Air is just to go back and be an end user and try and inform people, because a lot of people, believe it or not, in this day and age, don't know that an aircon does both heating and cooling. And once you put it, you're not going to have a fireplace. So it works both heating and cooling. So over the years, we found a lot of people. I remember I was in a CEO's office and he had a heater under his desk and he had an aircon in his room. And only until I came, I found that, wow, only until I came and I said, this does both heating and cooling. So there are a lot of people who don't know the actual functions of something. So because of that market research we did, we've been making content because we know our product very well, but a lot of other people don't. So the best way is to actually go back. I know you know your business very well, but what do people not know about your business? Do a market research and put content regarding that so that people are more informed about your product and service and what exactly you do. So it's more informative and try and make it hilarious. We've done a lot of things with, especially in Zimbabwe, local celebrities like Madam Boss. In South Africa, we've used DJ Spoo. We've tried to use people from different places so that it conscientizes people about exactly what we do.
And your personal brand, if you don't mind me asking?
With my personal brand, I'm somebody who I didn't get a lot of education. I failed my A-levels. I didn't do very well, but I was laughed at, I was mocked. And it's something that I've learned over the 9 years that education is not everything. I mean, it's so important to get it correctly, but your mindset and your self-belief in yourself, if you work hard very well, if you believe in yourself, if you put in the amount of hard work, you still can actually make it. So people's opinions don't define you, you define where you want to be. So that's the story I really would want to tell, because I know a lot of young people out there who maybe didn't go to school. So I don't want them to look down upon themselves. If they believe in something and if they work hard at it, they research and they work hard, they definitely can also achieve what I've done and what the other people that have done who, like on the videos you see, I talk about and I help to inspire, provoke and equip them so that they can be better people.
That was great. We have a question right at the other end of the building. Can we get a microphone there? Maybe as the microphone is going, it's funny that you said that someone had a heater and an aircon. I saw this post on your social media and then it says, you can do both. But to be honest, back in the days, I actually thought an aircon is just cold, And I think most of us here, don't raise your hands, we would laugh hard. The next question.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the great presentation. Our main challenges as young people who are aspiring to be established in business is funding. We've got brilliant ideas and we are working very hard actually in key areas of the economy of our country. But our main challenge is funding. Well, we are not expecting an NGO to come down to actually give us money, but we've got models that we are also creating as young people that we believe can also protect investment and can also build our business. But I just want an insight from you as an established entrepreneur who has set a foothold and who is successful. What did you think we can do? Back then, government used to have some policies where they would support young people to start businesses. But to date, because of the economic environment, it's a bit tough. And we can't expect the government to actually give us loans to establish meaningful business unless we otherwise want to do chicken runs or something.
Okay.
So what can we do, sir, to actually create funding to boost business?
Okay, what's your name, sir?
My name is Payne Farai Kupfua.
Farai. Farai, one thing about me, and I think even most of the speakers who will come to you today, I don't believe in getting funding. I believe in starting where you are and using the little that you have. Now, one of the most important things I realized that, especially when I began, was one of relationship. So I want to give a big credit and a shout out to Gareth Keach. He is an amazing man who saw the potential that I had. And he's the one, when I began my journey into entrepreneurship, would give me air conditioning units on credit, and I'd pay him in 7 days, 14 days, a month, depending on the relationship. So with whatever industry or sector you're in, the Bible says a good name is better than riches. And most of the people who've started businesses leverage or have leveraged some of their funding endeavors on the relationships that they have. So with me, I started off with 1 unit, I paid on time. I got 2 units, I paid on time. I got 10 units, I paid on time. Until no matter how big the project was, he was able to say, no, this is a good man. He whatever he says, his word is his bond. So, it's very difficult. I've never seen somebody who's been funded by government or a bank, because when you get that 10,000 or 20,000, you don't know how it has come. So to repay it, you don't understand. And remember, business is not going to start and flourish the first 5, 6, even the year or 2 years. It may start low and you may use all those resources on trying to get a new office, new car, this, that, and the other. But when you use your relationships, whatever sector you're in, if you look at other people, start small. The greatest secret to getting ahead is getting started. Start where you are. Some people, I'm amazed, will come to me and say, I want to start a business, but I see them, they're driving a car, they've got an expensive phone. Liquidate your assets. Start where you are. And 3, 4 years down the line, you'll be at this platform speaking to people. So start where you are. Don't rely personally. I've never gotten a loan or a grant from anybody. Believe where you are. Start. If you've got a good idea and a good concept, look at the people around you to try and assist you, and also honor your word. That's one thing, unfortunately, Africans don't do very well. Honor what you say. If you say, I'll pay you in a week, if you see a week has come and you haven't raised it, at least communicate before to make sure that that relationship doesn't doubt you the next time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, George. That was George Villeneuve Nengwa, the founder and managing director of ProAir. Thank you so much for that amazing presentation.